This is the vlog for, I guess it's January 15th, 2019. Honestly, I usually think about saying 2019 because I've gotten so used to saying such and such 2018. I did 8 months of vlogs in 2018. Excuse me, 10. As you can see, my math isn't great. 10 months of vlogs. And I've only got one more, so I guess it's actually 11 months, come to think of it. I don't really track these things. It's a very small part of my day, so I'm sure I hit 300 some point here and didn't even realize it. It might have been a fairly boring routine kind of day, or it might have been kind of down. But today was good. The weather was sort of weird. It started off sunny and got steadily cloudier over the day. I took a walk around noon, 12:30, and finished up pretty close to 2. Actually, it was after 2 o'clock, come to think of it. And then I took some stuff that I'd put in my car down to the storage unit. So I feel like I got a little bit of constructive work done. But what I actually spent a lot of today doing is deep core mining in Elite Dangerous. Now, this is a new feature. This is a new system. Actually, several layers of systems added in some of the more recent updates to Elite Dangerous. Mining used to be a fairly boring and time-consuming endeavor that was largely considered not lucrative enough to do, except maybe at low levels when you didn't have a lot else to do. It took a lot of time to find deposits, asteroids that had deposits that you wanted to pick up, and then you needed a refinery in order to remove individual things from individual chunks that you would carve off, and actually collecting the chunks without using these limpets, which are AI controlled little robots that grab things and carry them back. They're called collector limpets. There are a wide variety of limpets, but those particular ones collect objects and bring them back to the ship. I did it. I tried it for a short period of time and wasn't terribly thrilled with it. I found that hauling cargo and doing exploration was much more lucrative. But I think the makers of Elite Frontier also heard from the player base and probably got metrics suggesting that very few people bothered mining. And they, built systems for mining. They intended it to be one of the pillars of commerce in this game. And they went back and took a look at it, and they came up with this system. So before there's just one kind of mining laser. It's called a mining laser. And you aim it at a rock, and chunks come off. You collect the chunk, take whatever is in the chunk, turn it into an item that you can sell, and then start carving more chunks and just doing that over and over and over again. Very boring, very simple. The only thing that sort of broke up that monotony, when you go into an asteroid field, there are tons of these rocks all over the place, and you just pick them at random and see what you get. But you can fire prospector limpets that attach themselves to the asteroid, scan what that asteroid is composed of, and then you can use that information to figure out which ones you want to actually spend your time carving. This new system adds 3 new tools that you mount like weapons. So there's the abrasive blaster, abrasive like scrub off kind of thing. There is the subsurface something or other, which digs into the asteroid, pulls stuff out. And then there is the seismic mining charge. And this is where things get really interesting. So now if you fire a prospecting limpet at an asteroid, all these little points come up indicating which what what tool you can use at any given point, and what you're going to get for chipping off something with that tool to get what you're looking for. The abrasive blaster is very simple. It's a point and shoot kind of weapon. It fires a little ring of energy. Not much to it. The subsurface missile, mining missile, I think that's actually what it's called, subsurface mining missile, requires that you charge it up, and then, you know, it's very hard to aim, and it's apparently not really worth the effort, so maybe that's something that they can go back and take another look at. But when you scan very specific kinds of asteroids, you sometimes see fissures. And if you use the seismic mining charge on those fissures in very specific sort of measurements, you have to prime the charge with a certain amount of power depending on the fissure. You don't want to blow up too much of the asteroid or the yield will be low, and if you don't put enough power into it, it won't blow up, which is frustrating because if you don't get it in the first go, you may not have enough fissures left in order to blow it up for the second time. So, if you do plant your charges, and that aiming is a little bit difficult depending on how much it's spinning and the approach vector you're taking, if you set off all the seismic charges and they're synced together so that they all blow up at the right time together, the asteroid completely breaks apart. Like, not into small fragments, but into very large fragments. And the core, this is now called core mining, is exposed, and you can use your abrasive blaster to get at stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to get at because it was so far under the surface. And the reward for finding the right kind of asteroid to do this with is astounding. Yesterday in exploration, I made about 14 million credits, flying well outside the bubble for about an hour or an hour and a half. Actually, come to think, it was probably closer to 2 hours. And it felt good. It was fun. I got to explore and see a lot of cool planets. But it becomes very routine, very sort of, formulaic after a while. I spent 2 hours doing this core mining this morning, and I made 19 million credits. And I spent another hour and a half this afternoon doing it, and probably made another 12 million. So I've made 31 million credits for about 3 hours of work, a little more than 3 hours of work. And it was enthralling. I had a lot of fun. I was very careful. I stumbled. I didn't do everything exactly the way I was supposed to do it because I was still learning. And it's just been great. I can't wait to do more. And pretty soon I'm going to be able to afford some of the very large heavy-duty ships in this game. I don't know if I'm going to move up to them just yet. I'm really liking the Python. That's what I've been using it for. Although part of me wants to convert the Python back to a cargo hauler to sort of make quick money, especially if the weekly goal is to do cargo runs. That can be a very lucrative thing for the period of time when it's available. And then I could probably right now go and buy myself a Crate Mark II, which is a newer ship. It doesn't have the same cargo capacity as the Python, but it's very, very close in a lot of other respects. And I don't need all the cargo space that I have in the Python for this mining venture. So, yeah, I'm having fun. I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.